So if you're disconnected from an experience of peace, an experience of love, an experience of appreciation, an experience of empowerment, gratitude at a very basic level can help train that aspect of you to be available for it.
To it. Yeah.
Right. So it's something as simple as I remember when I was taking myself out of that mindset, I had a gratitude practice for a year. Every night I would just write down 3 things. And my goal was to make a list of 3 different things every night. So I would have this whole list. This is back when my son was born, where the first year I was in such a deep state where I was like, I gotta dig my way out. I gotta find things that are working in my life. And so I made this list, like all of these things are going to be completely different things. I can't repeat. And I saw myself halfway through
that's hard.
It was hard. It was hard. So I wrote this list down. I kept it on my phone. I was like, you're not going to repeat anything because you need to see bigger than what you already see, Jamie. And so by the time I was halfway through, I started recognizing that my list of items would change. It would go from like, I'm so grateful for this king size bed I get to sleep in, to things like, I'm so grateful that I'm no longer addicted to alcohol. I'm so grateful that I grew up in the home that I did. It would start to expand from these materialistic or minimalistic.
Stupid little things to like the big things.
Right, but even like the stupid little things, they mean something in retrospect or in the totality of, let's say I could have been born at a different location, at a different time, in a different economic class, in a different set of freedoms. So it's like, then you start thinking, oh my God, my life is bigger than what's inside this room right now. My life is bigger than this problem that I have. And that's what helps expand your internal reference point. So then you start going, well, maybe I'm bigger than that. Maybe I can be more than I think that I am. It starts to unlock who you are. Idea. Right.
That's interesting. So then maybe a good place to start as an exercise, right? For someone, and I was just thinking about this, is to take an area where you think you have no gratitude and then find it. And that doesn't necessarily mean think until you can find the littlest thing. That might mean make the situation. So let's say you're single and you don't want to be, and there are no opportunities, you believe. And so you're just sitting at home and you feel terrible about that. And then you make the decision that I'm going to find one thing to be grateful for. And you get up, get dressed, splash on the cologne and fix your hair and shower up, and you go to the supermarket and you just smile at every girl that is cute, and then just come home. You don't even need to do it. Don't talk to anyone. Just come back home and be like, I'm grateful that I got the idea that I saw 3 girls that were cute that I could have talked to. I didn't, but I'm grateful for that. So start on a little scale to make it an exercise, and then it will transform itself.
Yes.
Because that's kind of what's happened with me naturally, is like I started at the little things and then it just kept expanding. And the funny part of all is my life didn't really actually change physically. I just noticed one day I'll walk in and I'll be like, it's so great that I get to live in this house. And it's like, it's mine, like I can punch a hole through that wall right now if I feel like it. And then I'll patch it up. Nobody can tell me no or yes. I can do whatever I want.
That's an acknowledgement of freedom.
It is.
Oh my God.
But
when you acknowledge freedom, that's like, because that's the highest experience that we're seeking.
Is freedom.
Is freedom.
Freedom of choice, freedom of
everything.
Of
choice, because that is spiritually what we are. Spirits. As spirits, we're free. No, but it's true. As spirits, we are free. So it's understanding that you do have a freedom that is inherent to your design, and you've lived this life inside of systems and architecture of the community that you lived in and the family that you lived in, and all they've done is tell you can't, and you won't in here, and there's limitations. Now that doesn't mean that we're bad. It just means that at some point in your evolution into adulthood, there's a sovereignty that you have to consider to go, oh, I'm on my own now.
Yep.
Oh, I can choose anything now. Oh, actually, I don't have to be a part of this or a part of that family belief system.
I tell my niece this all the time when
You
we're
can
together.
grow up.
There are no adults here. We can do whatever we want. It is, and so freedom is important in that sense.
It's everything.
Yeah,
It's everything.
But just that little act, it's like the difference between something, taking the time when you think you have nothing to be grateful, to the time that you are grateful, is kind of in itself very just idea changing for you, because you'll see that the same exact things that you weren't paying attention to a month ago, all of a sudden now you're so grateful for, and you're like, damn it, I was living in this house and this whole time I wasn't in, like, actually taking it all in. I just said mentally, like, I have a house, that's great, but I didn't suck it in. I didn't walk down to my garage and pick out like this special wrench that I hunted down for 3 months and be like, this is awesome.
Right?
I got
own
this.
it.
Yeah, it's mine. I get to do whatever I want with it. So
That's so true, because the law of familiarity, it breeds. So we have what's called the law of familiarity, right?
which
So
is just getting numb to what you have,
you get unattentive.
good or bad.
You get comfortable. So comfortable could look like contempt in relationships, where you stop honoring or valuing the person because you're too familiar now. They've gotten used to your shit. So you don't feel the need to maybe position yourself or posture yourself in the relationship the same way anymore because you're familiar. It's like, oh, they're still here. Oh, okay. Or there's a lack of honoring somewhere.
Yeah.
Familiarity. It's just becoming comfortable with the situation at such a you're becoming so comfortable, you've lost your presence to what's happening, the meaning of it, the impact, why it was there in the first place, what you loved most about it, what you valued, what all of your interest went into creating because of it. So it's like the same thing that happens with any goal or anything that you desire, and then all of a sudden you have and you go get, and you're like, that was lovely, because what we're really in love with is the pursuit of life instead of the haviness of the thing. Although haviness matters, because haviness it really denotes possession. And if we have possession, and I don't mean like control, I mean ownership. So if I know that I possess something, especially if you don't realize that you actually possess your own soul, you're in trouble. Because now you're at the whims of everybody else's judgments and platitudes, and now you're having to reconcile why you're so different. But when you are familiar with something, you actually lose your importance of it. So that's the thing, that gratitude. The pursuit was over. So then I stopped paying attention. And this is where relationships die, because familiarity is, you don't do the same things as you do in the beginning. And so this is where gratitude echoes across your whole life, because it allows you to be present to what was important to you. It allows you to actually place value on things that go overlooked, or they go into the background, or they just kind of fall into the part of life, or that amazing espresso machine that you wanted for 6 months that you couldn't afford because it was $1,000, and now you have it and you're like, this is the best espresso machine ever. And then at one point, maybe you got used to it 2 years later, unless you put so much value to that thing that you make it an experience every time that you go get a cup.
Which works.
So if you think about things that you become familiar with, you actually lose the experience of that thing. Is what's happening. So what you did by creating gratitude is you created an experience out of the havingness of it. So if you're in a relationship with somebody and it's growing stale, cold, we're just not who we used to be, you're not experiencing your relationship. You're in it, you have one, but you're not experiencing it. It's the same thing with your tool shed.
Yeah.
You go down, you're just like, wow, you're experiencing the havingness of it.
So funny enough, I have a what I guess they call a mental illness that low latent inhibition it's called, and it doesn't allow me to do that, which is pretty crazy if you think about it. So that does not happen for me at like not. It can happen for me, but it doesn't a lot of the times because of that. So that's kind of.
So then gratitude is your medicine.
Gratitude is a medicine,
right?
But and that will bring it right back to that initial feeling that you always wanted anyway.
Yeah.
Which is the whole point of, and so gratitude as prayer really, really works.
Oh my God. Yes.